You can access the entire episode now on our website, forbiddenknowledge.news, Rokfin, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. I want to get to some of the unexplained abilities that these beings appear to have, and I also want you to chime in on this, Dr. Simeon. Towards the beginning, some of the witnesses were discussing the sound projection that these beings can emanate and how it has this, it seems the frequency has an effect on the human body. I've heard people saying that they can feel it vibrating and rumbling throughout their body and their chest. Talk a little bit about what you've found out about these sounds that these beings are making.
Simeon, you want that one?
Well, sure. I mean, in science, there's this whole field of infrasound, and it has to do with the way large animals can communicate and create a sense of presence. And, it's known that elephants communicate with infrasound. And it's something that you can't hear, but you can feel it. It's a very low frequency. Now, witnesses to Sasquatch report not just their shrieks and howls vibrating, their organs. I've been told it's like being at a rock concert in front of, hard rock concert, being in front of the speakers, if you remember what that feels like going to concerts. But this is something that you can sometimes feel also when it's not audible to your ears. I think this is sort of an idea of what could be going on, but we also can't discount that there could be other frequencies involved, other things going on. But this is the idea, is that they're able to communicate or create a sense of territoriality using sound. And then witnesses sometimes report afterwards feeling very disoriented, having been around these frequencies. It's referred to, I think, as brain fog.
Anything to add, Tobe?
I've been in the company of people that have been hit with the supposed infrasound before, and it's really interesting for the fact that it seems different than an animal, for sure, because it's targeted to individuals. In this case, I was less than 2 feet away from a guy that told me I shouldn't have brought a gun. They want me to leave. I could see him welling up with tears. This was a guy with a medical background, working on a fire crew down the road, seen lots of trauma in his life, but yet the woods that night were super scary to him. And I heard that time and time again. Someone's hit, the other person's not hit. Plus, this brain fog goes into mind speak. In that case, they want me to leave. Well, how the heck did he know that? You hear this time and time again, messages being delivered, especially with guys that have weapons that are scared. Not so much that I think they bring weapons, but they bring the fear in there on top of it. These are all just conjectures on my part, but being witness to this myself. Now, what I will say, Doug Hychek, the guy that created Monster Quest and helped get my book out, his son, Blaine Hychek, was out in the woods with an EMF detector. And while he was out in the woods, he actually got a huge spike on his EMF detector when he got a wood knock. Now, so what's going on here as far as sound in particular? Why in the world would you get a level 10 spike on an EMF detector with a wood knock? And I know we're jumping ahead here, but if we're talking about sound overall, I don't think these sounds that people are hearing are what they, all these apers are saying there. I think there's something much more strange going on with sound in general because of all the evidence that we got at this place called the Al Moon Lab. And we talk a little bit about this in the documentary, but, a flash of beauty is a universe amongst itself. But people can see in the last, the last interview of this movie that we're going to a different place. I think that different place may have more answers.
You mentioned the telepathic aspects, what some call mind speak. This also adds to the evidence that these beings are not just some primitive hominid. Because of the level and ability of communication, it seems to to match our level of intelligence and understanding, especially based on the psychic communication that witnesses that I've spoken to and you've spoken to. So that's a very interesting aspect, that these beings have the ability to communicate not only telepathically, but very intelligently.
Oh, I think so. Maybe they're just giving us what we can handle to see, what we can handle to understand. There seems to be a real learning curve getting to know us. And, I try to make the point that these habituators or Sasquatch contactees are where the bread and butter are as far as learning what this could all be about, because they don't give you a lot when you wander into their home. If you wander into the woods waiting for an experience to happen, I think it just takes years and years of them watching and trusting. But I think you can move closer to understanding these abilities, which maybe aren't so strange. It's strange to us here in the West. It's not so strange, in other countries, especially out in the East. So it's it's just something that I think is never going to this is never going to be solved in the traditional means by the aper community. And for that reason, I lean on people like Simeon to explain how we can move closer here. He's really the anchor throughout the documentary that gives us the backing of our claims.
Yeah, thoughts, Dr. Simeon?
Yeah, I think Tobe raises a really interesting point, is the way we're attempting to talk about this phenomena and these beings. We're doing the best we can with the language that we have and the concepts we have. And what we're doing is, and we do this with everything in life, but we're projecting common day ideas onto something we don't understand very well. We're not even sure if the wood knocks are literally wood knocks. I mean, it's not like they're going out there with baseball bats hitting trees. Are they doing it with their fists? I mean, people have suggested they're making the sounds in other ways. And I think it was Ron Moorhead who's in the film. I saw him speak just recently at a conference in Montana, MontanaCon. And he was the one, I believe, who suggested it's like the Sasquatch have like this hard drive built into their body that records every sound they've ever heard. And then they can project this at will. Even mechanical sounds of car doors slamming, sounds of machines, and it can be very confusing. We don't know actually exactly what they're doing. But I think the overall point is we're dealing with an intelligence that has abilities that we don't have, or we don't know we have. And it shatters this illusion, I think, that we've all been taught, that humans are the top of the food chain on planet Earth, or the most intelligent beings on planet Earth. I think I've often read that if we weren't here, the most intelligent beings would be, dogs. I've got one here. Those aren't wood knocking sounds. He's chewing on a bone here. But we just have this inculcated into our sense of reality from a very young age, that we're the bee's knees, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this shows us it's not true, that there are these beings out there that are extremely good at staying concealed if they want to be. As Tobe says, they'll contact you if they want to get in touch, not necessarily the other way around. We've seen all these shows where they're out there looking for them. And people like this that are out there looking, but it seems like when they want to make some contact, they'll make some contact. So it takes the assumptions we have about reality, and you have to cast those aside and look at this with fresh eyes.
Yeah, 100%. Now, one of the most incredible aspects of the film is the possible ability for these beings to manifest physical items or objects into reality, or maybe they have these objects on hand somehow, I don't know. But in the film you discuss how a couple of eyewitnesses had experiences where they were just thinking about their need of an object while they're in the woods, and within a short amount of time this object appeared in the middle of nowhere. Could you talk a little bit about some of those instances?